Okay, big day ahead. I've cocked up the tuning of the Foursquare. The reason is, if you take a Foursquare and only tune each one to best SWR, that's not quite right. You can be imperceptibly tiny bit off, because what we need is on your little smart meter thing, your rig expert or whatever it is, there's sometimes you can read X reactance, and that X needs to be as close to 0 as possible. It just so happens, the chances are that'll be the lowest SWR. But don't go off just SWR, go off X. So that's what I've got to do. So I've got to tune all these. Right. However, before I do that, there's a ton of work I need to do, because I don't want to tune all this stuff only to find out afterwards, oh, the tower wasn't properly grounded, the coax wasn't properly grounded. So I've got a ton of prep work to do in the field before we can tune the Foursquare. And that's what we're doing today. Got all my tools out here, and we're going to have a bit of fun and just sort things out. The next day, tomorrow, the video after this one, will be me doing the final tuning of the Foursquare, and hopefully it'll just work out the box. Regardless, the Foursquare needs a lot of tinkering and a ton of ferrites. I've got all the ferrites, just need to do it. Then I've got this cabinet over here. That's for the batteries for the winch. Need to fit that. I've decided to do that on some timbers and a load of other stuff. So let's just get on and see if we can plough through this. I don't know what the spacing is between these posts, and we'll cut a couple of timbers. I've got the level with me as well. So let's cut these at 190, say 191. So these are C16 timbers, which is some specification in the UK. But that's okay. If they rot, it'll take about 5 years for that to happen anyway. The point is, they're not in the ground. Do you know what I mean? It went really slow at one point. I don't know why. 182. Well, 181 will be fine. That is there. Now this cabinet is actually quite big, so we need to work out how high off the ground we want it. I think it would look nice at the top. All right, so we'll put one of these roughly at the top. Okay. Just to make it look right, there's nothing worse than seeing something cockeyed. Good. Let's just get this cabinet up, because these are what are going to go the batteries in. Then we'll have a look at the winch and maybe work out, should we start drilling out the winch platform. Now this pole here is going to be cut short. Right now I'm not quite sure how cut short. So I'll fit this cabinet basically right next to this pole. And then we'll cut the pole another time or later today. Now this cabinet is really heavy. I don't really want to kneel on the ground and get all dirty again. We might be lucky. Let's have a look. Hold and fire. Okay. Let it wander without falling off. A little spider in there trying to annoy me. I'm not very good with spiders. Oh, that's the top. They're not long screws, but they're chubby, do you know what I mean? All this needs a good clean. And I've got leaves. We'll get the bucket and sponge out at some point in time. Make it all nice. Batteries aren't that enormous. So what we could do, we could put those, I've got a load of those vertical shelf things with the clip-ins, we could do that and then put the batteries on the little clip-in things. I can't find the spanner I used. I must have taken it inside. Literally half a thread. Yeah, I think we can cut that now. So if you didn't watch that video, we dug a T-shape and put something in called a dead man anchor, because the winch probably about here, something like that, and that will go to the falling derrick. The falling derrick goes right up in the air, of course, so which is one of the reasons I wanted to get this on a separate anchor a little bit further away. It's important not to overload the anchor, and I thought the anchor I put in is probably only good for 200 kilos. I did the maths and I reckon I probably needed 300 kilos, so the cheap way of doing that was with the dead man anchor. It's a proper engineered solution, but anyway. Now at the back of this, I wanted to put a proper copper bar in. Well, I think it's a steel bar. Oh bugger! It's an extension tube. Hasn't got a point on the end. Oh yes, it has. Hardly. So I thought we'd just put it literally there, because I know there's no concrete here, and it should go in quite well. So I could really tell after I got through the soil and I was in the clay, off it was shooting down. One teeny issue I've got is that I don't have the official kind of brass fancy thing to put around here, so I thought we'd just put a stainless hose clamp, put all our wires in there, if you know what I mean, and tighten it up and liberally coat it with some ox guard. Why am I doing this? To be honest, I don't really know. I was on to ChatGPT about this whole project. I said, do I need an earth down here? Oh, that's a good idea, yeah. So, anyway, do we need to? Probably not. But for the sake of an hour and $10, might as well get on with it. There's a load of studs on the back plane here. And we tidy all this up. Grind the studs off. And put the new, well, the old, the original back plane, right, which goes in here quite nicely, but it means we can screw stuff to it. And I've got a piece of aluminium angle which we can drill some holes and put some SO239s in. So I just need to take out what's in here so I can get the grinder in, you know. I just want to leave space, so that's my phone. That's all I want to do, really. So I can get the grinder into here, you know. Oh, another 15 minutes wasted finding extension leads and everything. Oh, hang on. I don't like making that much noise. So, either the last video or the video before that, I can't remember, I said not to blame the manufacturer, you know, if something breaks. I should have finished that sentence with, as long as they fix it, alright? So, I got to say, I don't like calling people out, but ACOM have had my amplifier, which, if you remember, worked for less than 5 minutes when I unboxed it. They've had it for well over a month. Martin Lynch told me they thought it'd been dispatched back a couple of weeks ago, and I got a message yesterday. They still haven't got it. It hasn't been sent. I just be honest, it's tragic, really, absolutely tragic. All that money. I mean, what are my rights? I mean, when does the warranty? Is the warranty just gradually expiring while I haven't got it? I just don't know. I mean, if it comes back and it works perfectly, then everything's fine. But if it breaks again, I don't know, I had to get onto ChatGPT and say, what are my rights for this, you know? So, because without the amplifier, it's pointless doing half of this. We're trying to put a multi-2 station in, you know, 2 stations at the same time, both high power, need an amplifier, automatic amplifier both sides. There we go. I'll stop waffling now about that. It just kept me up all night. Where's my tape measure? I don't know where my tape measure is. I mean, this is just typical. So this is aluminium angle iron. Angle. I think that's 40 mil by. It's only 2 mil thick, so it should be really easy to sort out. I just spent an age finding my 6 mil tap. I've got a funny feeling I've just drilled out these holes the wrong size. It was only a test because I'm going to use a step drill, but let's just have a look. Yeah, so good. But I have found a slightly smaller drill bit here, which will be to do that. So I'll put that out of the way. Okay, fine. I pressed the record button, nothing happened. You've hardly missed anything, don't worry. I've got the 2 holes. I have actually drilled and tapped 1 thread inside there. I'll show you the next one. But when this is up and running, we're going to need some more holes for grounding, all sorts of stuff. So I've got to make some smaller holes for what I call cable ties and stuff like that. And then one more nearer here. I'm just putting a little thread in here now, look. Whoa. Hopefully that'll be good enough. But that's me filming with one hand, doing something with others. My own fault. I'm just trying to find a 10 mil spanner. It's in, lovely. This gives us a nice platform, you know, for grounding and stuff. So I'll get a ground lug ready there. As in the last video, I tucked a grounding strap under here. There it is. Crimps. So this ground goes to the radials and the mast itself, but we've got to put another little grounding thing around the rotator so the rest of the mast is 100% grounded. I mean, it won't be a showstopper because, you know, we'll always graft another one on. I'm just going to nip that up by hand for a minute. So what do? Go around a few times, put the stainless clamp on the top with some ox guard, wherever it is. I just want to check that this does tighten all the way up, you know. And sometimes it's just a case of, you know, making do, isn't it? And frankly, that's what I'm doing now. I mean, you can shim things out, of course. I just want this thread's gone. I just want to make sure it does actually tighten up, you know what I mean? Okay, well, I fancy the idea of going around here a few times, maybe. And as it's going tight, we can sort of pull the end, you know. Okay. That's actually worked. That's not slipping too much, is it? Oh, no, it's not. It's the whole post that's moving. Just cut the excess off, you know. We'll leave a little tail, you know, just for... And then this will go up inside. Alright, there. So, we've got the tower and the radials on one of these. We've got the copper rod on the other. Any coax that comes into the cabinet will also be grounded, look. That'll be the 20mm Yagi. That's the 15mm Yagi, not yet installed. That's the spare. I think I will put the 4 square on there, the main feeder, and then a tiny patch lead into the 4 square controller here. I'm just checking my list. What else have I got to do? Copper rod behind cabinet, we've done that. Bond rod to mast and cabinet, done that. Grind off the cabinet studs, done that. Fit the galvanised grounding plate, did that. Hammer the second rod near the winch. I didn't need to, we used timbers. Fit the spare cabinet, we've done that. Fit the ferrites, we haven't done that. Check the pole for tower 2 Derrick. Yeah, so it's an interesting one, look. This falling Derrick here, I'm using an aluminium scaffold pole as the falling Derrick, but my God, I really want that for the tower 2, ideally. Which means finding enough bits of pole and everything that's strong enough to be able to manage this thing over. Now I could put a steel here, and I've got a steel knocking around, but not the full length. The thing is, I mean, I once made a tower, 80-foot tower, and the minimum I thought I could get away with was a falling Derrick, which was 9 meters tall. So if you think about it, you've got to get the falling Derrick vertical before you start even trying to raise the mast. 9 meters, a lot of people have got a hex beam lower than that. We're putting this thing up in the air. The thing is, if we use a proper steel scaffold pole, that means I've got to get that up straight. But I have found, I think it's thin-walled aluminium, which ChatGPT is not going to be happy about. I mean, it's all right for a lightweight falling Derrick mast. I think we need another steel scaffold pole, which means I've got to, that'll be a hell of a job. Never mind, we'll work a way out of it. What was I going to do next? The whole tower isn't actually bonded together. So what I've done is I've drilled a hole at the very bottom. I'm going to bypass the hinge with a bonding strap, and I'm going to bypass the rotator with another bonding strap. That will hopefully, and this is a new word, invisibilize the tower from the 4 square. Now what I should really do is go inside, turn the tower, you know, halfway one way, halfway the other way, whatever, do this 180 degrees apart, but I actually can't be bothered, because it'll all change shortly. Alright, I've done the top one as well. We'll put some tape round there. So hopefully we've got enough spare so when the rotator twizzles, it won't get tangled up. But this is all temporary. What I'll try and do is tomorrow, when I finally do the final tuning of the 4 square, I don't want to think, oh, maybe it's because that wasn't grounded, maybe because this wasn't grounded, and so on. I don't want maybes. So if we got a meter out, for instance, and, for instance, took this tower, oh, I've got a meter, hey! So, let's think about this. Everything should be grounded now. So, tower to the rod. The rod to the bottom of the tower. Middle of the tower. Above the rotator. Oh, it's all done then, isn't it? At least now we can be assured that everything's got a ground, all right? I was trying to use that word, invisibilize the tower, because the tower is completely, exactly in the centre of the 4 square by grounding it as well and making sure that it is not a resonant length, and it's not. The top of this bit of the tower, because there's a fiberglass insulator up there, is about 7 meters high, so that would be resonant on like 30 meter band, not 40 meters. Well, that's the idea anyway. Hammer the copper rod behind the cabinet. We've done that. Bond the rod to the mast and the cabinet and the tower and above the rotator. Grind off the cabinet studs. Fit the galvanized grounding plate. Done that. We fit the spare cabinet by the winch. We've done that. We haven't fitted the ferrites, but we have checked for some poles, and I've decided we need a steel one. I think you'll agree we've made quite a lot of progress. There's a ton of stuff in both cabinets. We've done a ton of grounding and all sorts of stuff, and it's just, you know, good prep, good solid prep. And if you make a shortcut like I did for this 4-square, and then you go, I better start tuning this, then you start thinking, oh, wait a minute, let's solve all the other little problems before we do that, like grounding the tower, grounding everything, grounding the coax, just in case I don't want to go through all the tuning rigmarole, do that job anyway, and then lose it. So there we are. Because the point is, on the 4-square, I wasn't getting the front to back, all right? And Colin got in touch with me, MM0PX, Rowley mentioned it as well. The fellow from DX Engineering said, get X equals as close to 0 as you can. Then the hybrid control unit and everything will work together, right? Don't worry about SWR so much. That'll come in time once it's all tuned. There we are. All right, so I hope you're enjoying my radio. I'm not at the moment, so I'm not getting on the radio as much as I'd like to, because I've got work, which is that way by 50 meters. And I've got all this stuff I've got to do as well. But never mind. All right, I'll see you all soon, guys. Bye for now.